Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology update for June 24th to July 1st, 2024. Well, we have a very powerful final week of June with our personal planets continuing to do the dance through the zodiac. We have had what just happened is our personal planets, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, all came into square with Neptune. First square with Saturn, then square with Neptune, then moved into the sign of Cancer. The Sun moved into the sign of Cancer on the 20th for the solstice, longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, shortest day of the year in the southern hemisphere. And so at the solstice, there's this energy of pause. And in this energy of a 3-day pause where the sun kind of goes, ooh, changing direction in a way, that's right then came the Capricorn full moon. And the Capricorn full moon happened on the 21st at the very early degrees of Capricorn. Now, Capricorn is a cardinal sign. So that is talking about starting. They're initiators, getting things going. And so at 1 degree, it's like the beginning of a whole new beginning. In Capricorn, we're talking about authority structures. And we know that Pluto is going back into the sign of Capricorn, and we are having an opportunity to examine and have it revealed with absolute clarity everywhere that we've given our power away. Any contract on any level throughout all lifetimes that has to do with where you sold a part of yourself or you offered it in exchange or something you owed or somebody owes you, all of these contracts are on the table and they're showing themselves, giving us an opportunity to extract ourselves. If this is the spiritual ascension and if this is a free will universe, then we each need to decide that we're on the ascension train. So we're each being given an opportunity to make these changes. The changes have to do with all this Aries energy of now that we have our personal planets in Cancer, they'll be squaring up with the nodes and Chiron in Aries. And Aries is about owning yourself, containing yourself, preserving the pure essence. It's about life and death and the essence of the truth, the I am. So, with in square, these planets, the Mercury, Venus, and the Sun coming into square with the nodes of the moon, North Node in Aries and Chiron in Aries, is activating this Aries energy again for us. Of course, we had a Aries explosion this spring with that total solar eclipse on April 8th and the lining up of planets in Aries with the North Node. They're saying the North Node this is the way forward. The only way forward is really kind of what's coming forward. We got to own our shit. We got to take back our power. We have to contain ourselves. We have to be autonomous. So this seems to be the key concept coming forward around moving into the Aquarian Age. Being autonomous. We've gotten the message again and again that how can we move over into this different type of authority, of this human sovereignty, while we're still loyal to lower forces or giving our power away on any level. It might even seem, some of these contracts for supernova souls are like your heart is breaking because you want to give, and yet what we need to do is contain. Can we contain? Because and it's hard for supernova souls because it feels selfish, right? Like we're holding back where we should be giving because we're givers and we're lovers and we're healers. And you know what? There's this massive time coming for us to give and be received. The blockage against and control forces trying to demonize healing energy and the power of consciousness. And we're taking all of this back. So it's like the way this is set up, it seems like we each in the free will experience of spiritual ascension need to decide and make the changes and be what that we need to do to be autonomous, because we have to have autonomy in our field, like not hooked up to the lower matrix and the programming and we have to be autonomous in order to make that leap into the Aquarian age, because it's a different type of authority. We don't have leadership structures that are telling us what to do and managing. The leadership of the Aquarian age, which is you guys, supernova souls, is this visionary leadership, being able to see the bigger picture of what we're working on and tap in and tune into the energies intuitively, to work with individuals to bring forward their precious gifts and skills, their potential, and then finding where that potential best fits into the vision of the greater organism. Beautiful, beautiful work, but very different than managing and controlling and telling others what to do. So it's a self-leadership, a self-autonomy. A lot of people say, well, then we don't need leaders in the Aquarian age. But it's like, oh, we do. Because a lot of society, has become so programmed. And we've been programmed from the beginning to have this Messiah complex, to give all our power over. And so we have to take it back. And ironically, is that the second coming, where we incarnate our Christ body by claiming our sovereign right as beings of consciousness, human souls in a body, aware of themselves as consciousness. We have direct access to this consciousness. And we know that this is exactly what all of the programming and all of the stories have been trying to distract us from knowing and living and breathing the power of our consciousness to create our own reality. They're using the power of our consciousness to create reality, to create their gloom, doom, trauma, drama narrative again and again and again throughout time. And now we say no. We're each individually having that opportunity in this free will experience to claim back our life, truth, and our vision, our consciousness, and the dream. See, they want us scared at this place where we're at, that if you don't, you can't handle the power of creation. And when we were separated from the power of creation, then it became a monster, something to fear. The healing power of the serpentine kundalini rising, energetic focus of miracle healing became a monster to be chained and controlled and demonized and abused. And we all lived this, and this is what we're coming out from under right now, with a really powerful energy of Black Moon Lilith in Virgo at 29 degrees, exactly opposite of Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces. And this is exact from the 21st to the 29th. We're right in the middle of this exact, but we feel it through the third week of July. So a whole nother month of this energy, of this influence, but it's happening right now. So pay attention to this, because it's saying that we have to uncover our gifts from underneath the persecution of the creation energies. And so all of this is on the table right now. Now, the power of creation, this is what we're talking about with the healing and the higher technologies and our ability to create our own reality. What they don't want us to know we have access to. And a message is very important, powerful message is coming through around this from the mother around that the separation occurred because, we were separated through trauma, drama narratives, and fear programming from the mother, from connection, and from creation energy. The indigenous cultures all held this creation energy represented by the Great Mother and our Earth Mother, manifest form of the Great Mother. All indigenous cultures held this energy sacred, because it is really, isn't it? It creates life. It's everything. It's creation. So the practice of this mutual reciprocity with Mother Earth is how this creation energy maintained its sacredness and our connection. That was like the fires, the goddess fires burning in the temples throughout the world. And then they were extinguished by this false power force. And now we relight the fires. That's what we're doing. We're relighting the goddess fires. And all of this is about that. Because as we had um, all of these planets move into Cancer this last few days, it's like this wave of that nurturing energy. Like, this is what it's all about, you guys, right? Come on, let's get on the page. You know, all this conflict that we're encountering and all this karma and all this backlash. And it's like, get on the page with the dream. Come on, people, you know? And this is what's happening, coming into the fold. We're the first fold, and we're bringing them into the fold. Um, and so, going back to this, so the nurturing is coming forward now that all of our planets are the nurturing energy, the importance, the power. It's like, oh, this is what it's all about. Now we're seeing this. And coming back to this energy of whole, where ancient cultures all held the feminine or creation energy, the goddess archetype, as sacred and worshipful. Not a worship of a person, but a worship of an energy and a love of a great mother. And the divine feminine that brings forward the manifest gifts that allow us to survive and have comfort in this world. So there's this energy coming forward. We've been talking about the new Renaissance because we've got Jupiter in Gemini now expanding us into the vibration, the expression, the art, the music, the writing, the frequencies. Um, and so we are coming forward. You know, it's like we had that Taurus, all that Taurus energy around unlocking our treasures and our gifts, and now we're being asked to bring it forward. And there's a special energy here that if we look at this picture that the mother's bringing forward of how all cultures were held in sacred reciprocity with the mother, holding creation energy sacred. We are here now taking back the fires, the creation fires, and expressing and moving this energy in the world again, having permission to express our full truth and potential. And so there's a very beautiful practice available, she's suggesting, around in the way that these cultures held the mother sacred and that we've come to know and love and feel this field of energy and love with her. We also need to hold our creations that we're bringing forward as sacred. It's a very different way of looking at creativity. It's like, oh, well, I kind of want to do this creative project. And it's like, no, no, no. This is deep, profound ritual that's taking you back lifetime after lifetime to where the fires were extinguished, where you were persecuted, whatever happened, this attack, this, kind of retribution, punishment for the light that you are. So hold the energy of bringing forward your voice on whatever level is so, so sacred. Create a sacred space, make time, make this the ritual, make a practice of this holding your creation sacred. What wants to come forward, you know? And so are we connect? It's like kind of an opportunity to connect back to the mother through honoring and loving our sacred creations as her sacred creations, as the energy of source and creation coming through us. And so that can be really helpful because it's this Cancer energy is bringing the nurturing, and then we're looking at nurturing the expression of our gifts that have been so, there's so much pain and trauma there, the rejection, and you're not going to be able to feel that rejection energy or really heal it until you move into it, till you move. It's like we've got to take a step into the energy of what we want in our lives, what we want to create, but understand that that's going to bring forward. This is the Black Moon Lilith at the end degrees of Virgo, shining the light on the darkest places. It's not until you move into the energy of expression, creation, your truth, that you're going to find the fear, the trauma, the dynamics that need to be healed. The other message that's coming through is this time, these dynamic transits that are happening. I'll talk this through here with these Cancer Aries squares. Is it so dynamic and so fast? Detox is happening on its own, and we want to support that process. But just in knowing that so much is healing, changing, shifting rapidly, and we need to really take time in our lives to adjust and process. So it's not so much about trying to figure out or make healing happen like we did, in the past, the old paradigm. This is about getting out of the way and allowing the force to move in our life of healing, to be like, all right, I take it, I see it, I love it, I'm open, I'm opening my heart. It's just so intense. So let's talk through these transits, because like I said, we've got um, first Mercury, then Venus, then the Sun, first squaring the nodes of the moon in Cancer, square North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra, and then conjunction with Chiron in Aries. So it's bringing back the whole energy on the next level, right? Because it's a square. So it's like the staircase, the next level of understanding of what happened at that total solar eclipse and what this Aries energy really means for us. So it's really, really important in our self-preservation. This is the going back to what I was talking about at the beginning. It seems like with all these karmic situations coming up, we're being tested whether we can put ourselves before others. We've never been able to really do it because we got trapped in this whole story and we've been codependent. We got so rejected. First, it was shame, blame, Atlantean catastrophes, all our fault, our power, right? We hand it over. We're like, no, that we don't want to have anything to do with that power. We don't want to hurt anybody. We don't want to blow up any planets. We don't want to. And so then there was the persecution of that healing and light throughout time. And so we have been, then we had, because of the Atlantean dynamic, we took on this deep subconscious program that we had to fix and heal the timeline, the earth, right? Which is what we're doing. But it put us in this codependent situation where we just want to help and heal and fix but is it a deeper, lower ego construct that has to do with Atlantean time, that you owe the earth something, or you have to earn it or figure it out? So what this is doing, because this replayed in ancient Egyptian with initiation rites gone wrong, deliberately gone wrong. And there's a lot of trauma around this, and because we're going through initiation experience, so we're going to have to undo all the trauma programming of the false initiations, of the initiations gone wrong. And so there's a connection here through these lifetimes. And that we ended up with this kind of codependent feeling that, first of all, we're rejected. So it's all our fault. We can't, it's all our power caused destruction. And then we're rejected. And this is made into poison. The creation energy was turned into poison, right? In the Piscean age, the delusional programming, control, cult programming. And so we're poison, we're rejected then. And there's all these situations where we've all lived as supernova souls through an experience where everybody was turned against us, and a lot of times it happened really fast, and then a lot of times we were persecuted or killed, and it's just this pattern of events. We're living in our body this energy because we're coming close to our ascension and our activation into our light body, right? So we have to understand this is all going to come up. But if we see the bigger pattern of this, we got shame, blame, demonization, rejection, and here we are. Then we ended up with codependency, where we're like, oh, I have something to make up for, and you don't like me because of this healing power, but I've really got something to make up for. So let me give all my energy over to you so you'll like me, so we can have healing, so I'll be validated, and then they won't be burned at the stake. And I don't know if you can relate, but supernovas have gone through quite a rigmarole around these stories. And so it's really hard right now because it feels like part of the initiation test of what we're going through is putting yourself first. And it's really, really against our nature because we're here to serve. And we only access the blessings of this world, when we come together in cooperation. And if you think through your day and you did one little thing nice or helpful, and you go through your day, at the end of the day, that one little thing nice, that's the jewel, that's the gold, that's all you get to take with you. All the money you made, all the manipulative, the way people want to manipulate life and try to make things happen for themselves, none of that adds up to anything at the end of the day. But that one nice act, that one helpful thing, is absolutely pure spiritual gold. And here we are, chained and imprisoned, can't give and they can't receive, We've got all of this love to give. And in order to make it through this part of the test, are you done with the test or what? We have to say no to giving in order to preserve ourselves. But guess what? When we preserve ourselves, we become a fountain of overflowing. It can just come out of us. We don't have to go find it, fix it, heal it. It can just flow out. And this is a palpable energy, the mother's field. The mother energy is a palpable field. It's not some crazy out there idea that you're talking to this goddess woman that is the earth. That's true too. Because if you're in the field, you feel it. You feel her holding you, loving you, carrying you, and you could fall through the roof 10 feet and still be caught by the mother energetically, right? And this is what we need to come back to, this deep and profound faith. How are we ever going to let the light in the Christ consciousness if we can't be in the place to receive it? Now, so the mother is a field of energy that we're working with, and it's exactly so it's like basically when our electromagnetic field connects with the electromagnetic field of the earth, and we're owning our mother and loving our mother, and it creates a palpable energy that you can feel. Healing, correcting, solving, loving, healing, correcting, solving, loving, harmonizing. And so, but for some reason, there's such a backlash to this energy. And it seems like it's something scary, evil, wrong, bad, dangerous. Um, and it's just simply the mother's love, what we all want and what we all need. And we can just stop all this business of the divide and conquer. And I believe this and you believe that. And my team and blue team and red team and blue team, because we all are human souls. All human souls want and need the same thing: to be loved and cared for, to love and care for their creations. The other thing we're being asked to hold sacred and to love and care for is our body, is the temple. If we are incarnating this Christ light, uh, we have to make room for it. So that's another message coming through. It's emptying out. We're emptying out, emptying out. Just let it come up, let it go. Cry the tears, grieve the, cry a river, build a bridge, because we've got to make room for the massive abundance that's coming. There is no other way around it. So let's talk through these transits, because just yesterday, Mercury came into square with the nodes of the moon. So over the last week, we had all of these personal planets square with Neptune, move at the very end degrees of Gemini. What is the song that we are going to sing? And it's then all moving into Cancer, and that's telling us, this whole new renaissance, this whole activation, this whole expression is really about an expression of the divine feminine, bringing back that energy. It doesn't negate the masculine. All my talking about the mother in this field is because she's been ignored, forgotten, we've disconnected. She's been also gone through so much shame and abuse and mistreatment. But we know that it's all of our lifetimes have been about living as supernova souls through our seen lifetimes, through our druidic lifetimes, through our shamanic lifetimes, looking for this and attaining and creating in our societal structures, in our being, in our life, the perfect balance between the masculine and the feminine. And so we've had this Father God, but the Father God is actually distracting us from the false light from actual Father consciousness. Now, to get back to true Father consciousness, we've got to go get to the mother. We got to get into her womb. We got to climb back into her love, her heart, her womb, carry it in our heart, and together be reborn. We got a picture in one of the activations, meditations, of this recreation of the earth, that we were there at the beginning of the original creation, and there's a recreation happening, alignment back to the original dream and vision. Everything we've been told that's happening, it's happening. And the picture of how this happens was dancing girls in full and complete joy, like the Three of Cups and flowing silk robes and the innocence and beauty of the divine feminine, dancing our new world into existence. And then I got a picture kind of like literally that's our DNA activation, right? A dance, a new dance. Like it's in us. We have it. We know it's in us. The Gaia codes, the original vision of what this earth evolution wants to become. And now we awaken to this. It brings quite a feeling of confusion, especially these last few days with the sun in square to Neptune. Who am I? What am I doing? What's real? A lot of grief around projects in the past that didn't work out and feeling of frustration of not being able to move forward, but just stop. Stop, pause with the solstice for a minute because guess what? Mother says it's not going to look like what you thought it's going to look like, but it's going to be more amazing than you can imagine. So just stop. You know, we have a tendency to, we've been so into manipulating and controlling our life. And we've got to just stop and feel the mother's love building and growing within us. And feel that this, we've already planted it. We don't need to create it. We don't need to imagine it even or vision it. It's already done. The seeds have been planted and now we sprout them and bring them forward. So it's not as hard as you think. There's a whole bunch of other people working on exactly the same project you're working on. And it just wants to flow together, just like that. The mother's field that we're talking about, as we have consciousness of this mother field, it grows. You know, so that mutual reciprocity, the deep reverence and gratitude, and holding sacred the creation energy by holding sacred our creations and our body as a creation, the temple to host this profound light that's coming into the world. And so it makes sense that all of these energies are coming together for Cancer season and this recreation and rebirth. And can we allow this to happen in our lives too? Can we get out of the way? And that healing force that harmonizes, corrects, heals, detoxes, rejuvenates, regenerates, that force also brings into form. This is the force we're working with. The mother brings into form, holds into form. It's a field. It's field. We think it's physical, right? And so this is what we're celebrating with the mother. And as shamanic leaders throughout time, supernova souls have worked with the mother because we have an understanding of the raw materials of creation. That's what we are. Do you get it now? Supernova soul? It's the materials of creation, the raw materials that can take form, shift, heal, change, rejuvenate, regenerate whole universes and planetary realms. Thank God you're here. I'm so glad you're here. And the mother is so glad you're here. Thank you so much for being here for this adventure together. So Mercury squared the nodes yesterday, and that just lasts for a couple of days. But it's starting this whole chapter. So we started feeling that on the couple of days ago on the 22nd, and through the first week of July, we're feeling all this energy. So this is our window here. Like the last week of June, first week of July, we've got some tension going on, some pressure, because can we nurture ourselves back into our autonomy? Because nurturing meant giving ourselves away to try to fill the black hole of this world. And so it's about receiving the mother's love and containing the mother's love rather than leaking it out all over the place codependently. So it's very profound. And that has this energy of like facing the hard truths of where we've given our energy away, and we continue to give it away just because maybe somebody will like us, you know? And we need to like us. We need to hold the creation, the sacred creation of this world that is you, sacred. um, so Mercury starting this whole thing off in Cancer square to the nodes of the moon. The north node in Aries, the only way forward is this autonomy, this sense of self, this ownership, containment of the consciousness and the power that we have here. South node, Libra. Now, the south node is what is it that's holding us back from the past. And Libra is about relationships. It's about relating. It's about one-to-one interpersonal energies and co-creation and collaboration. It's so good. It so fits the Renaissance energies, right? But it's what is going from the past that's keeping us from moving into that new Renaissance and new relationships. Supernova Soul's the deep yearning, deepest pain is this feeling of loss, that we realize we've been working so hard to become whole and complete in ourselves, to find our core self, to land home, to bring all of our parts home, and to fully be who we are, only to realize that we're only a piece of a bigger organism. And the deep grief of being separated from our soul team. You know, this is all you've learned, yearned for, and wanted your whole life, like, you know, to fall in love. And it's like we're falling in love with a bigger picture of a wholeness, that we are all a part of an organism. And I think there's a bigger supernova organism of those that were there at the beginning and hold space and keys of this creation. And then within that, we have different circles and different core groups and concentric circles. But we're all working on the same project from the very beginning. And we're so connected, and we've been so separated from each other. And so it's a huge, huge deal to come back together. So this whole South Node Libra is really, really important, as well as the upcoming energy of Black Moon Lilith moving into Libra on June 30th. So let's talk about that real quick, because we're having this exact Black Moon Lilith opposite Neptune, and we're talking about that Neptune in Pisces 29 degrees, Black Moon Lilith in Virgo at 29 degrees, this wounded healer. We've got to heal the wounds and the traumas of the persecution of the healer from the Piscean age and rewrite that story, rewrite the script. And that's what's going on. Now, say all of a sudden the script is being rewritten because you're taking back your power and your energy, but what's happening in that process is this kind of feeling, which is normal and human. We have to forgive ourselves and be gentle with ourselves, but we will resist the good, and we'll find problems with it, and we'll try to, not trust it, and just go slow, take a few deep breaths, because we're massively unwinding patterns from over many lifetimes around whether or not we deserve to receive and be who we are. So, of course, as we move back into things starting to work out, or connections, or opportunities, or structures, or other people in the puzzles, it's like a dance where we've got to now. So, this is the message around this: is that okay, we know that the patterns have been unwinding, and this is Capricorn going back, or Pluto going back into Capricorn. The patterns are unwinding, and we're finding, like, oh God, that old yucky pattern that I've been living by is truth. But we're also finding a pattern, different patterns. Like, it's like at the same time as that old pattern is falling apart, new patterns are being available. And the new patterns have to do with this abundance and cooperation and collaboration and receiving. And it's hard to let the old, so it's like we're so used to the old pattern, and it's comfortable, more comfortable than the new, you know. But it's this message of let the new pattern arise, and go slow, trust it, be aware in your consciousness that it's kind of traumatic to have things start to work out, or new energies come in that could be helpful. It's hard to trust after all we've gone through. But so just, it's like I'm seeing this thing of a spool of thread that got all tangled the wrong direction. And now Mercury, or Jupiter, Pluto going back into Capricorn is like trying to unwind that mess. If you've ever done handiwork, crafts, sewing, fly fishing, you know about this entanglement that happens so easily. And then you're like, how do I go back in time? You try to go pull out the pieces and go back through to unwind what's been, and sometimes it just knots itself. And so it's a very delicate process, the unwinding. If you pull at it, it's going to make more knots, and your yarn is just going to be a big knot. you know, you're going to have to pull it into pieces to get it apart. You have to go slow. You have to pick it apart. You have to understand that this is entangled around that and that's entangled around this. And so it's like, oh, old pattern. Wait, new pattern? Can I trust it? Can I feel into it? Can I lean into it gently? So know that that's kind of the process we're going in, and you got to take the bobbin and spin it back the other way because it was spinning the wrong direction. And we're just like, whoa, 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 unwinding, unwinding, unwinding. Lifetimes and lifetimes of patterns. And be aware of the new patterns. Don't be scared of them. That it's not just letting go of the old patterns. New, healthy patterns are landing, structures of support for you in your dreams, in your visions, which you don't even know what they are because you only have a piece of the puzzle, right? So this is the South Node, Libra, around relationships, and where we supernova souls have had relationships. A lot of us have had control-based relationships where we were never able to really live our truth. Lifetime after lifetime, we got used to that as love. Like we needed protection, we needed to be owned and controlled by our family or the people around us, you know. And so it's a lot to learn to be free. Wild donkey, after all that captivity, you can really handle yourself out there, you know. So these are the new patterns, right? And so the old relationship patterns are these control based energies, and they're going to be coming up everywhere that you still have a contract that you owe someone, that you're going to put their spiritual truth, their emotional energies, their life, their healing in front of your wholeness. Can't do it anymore. No more prostituting ourselves. How can we hold sacred the sacred creations if we do not hold, contain? Okay, so if you're going to go to the well and you're going to get some water, you've got to have a container. And this is what we're building. And it's requiring difficult tests of having to put yourself, which is now aligned with the mother and her dream and her vision first, before everything else. And everything else can come and meet you there in your truth, in your love, in the beautiful picture, piece of the puzzle, her petal of the lotus that you have, that only you can play that role. And it's just a very powerful time where we're being asked to be very deliberate and very explicit, um, uh, paying attention to detail with our energy, our vibration, our words, our thoughts, our actions, so that we can make sure we're taking advantage of this time, full advantage, to get the healings and blessings and clearings. So it has to do with contractual arrangements around ownership and control of your soul essence and energy from past lives versus the new direction forward and autonomy in the North Node in Aries. Okay, so Mercury just squared the nodes yesterday. Venus squares the nodes on the 27th, in just a few days, and we're already feeling that starting today. That's the intensity, I think, energy, because it's like up against the wall. Now, the cardinal squares are intense because cardinal signs want to start something. So cardinal squares are always about trying to turn the wheel. You know, it's like it's cogged. You can't go that way. Got to jimmy it, you know, got to get it going. And the cardinal signs just want to get it going. So what are we getting going? Our new nurturing world, moving forward in sovereignty and autonomy as our birthright to be vessels for creation energy. So Venus in square to the nodes, Mercury's like our conceptual reality, and Mercury's going, whoa, what just happened? Still, we're processing the whole Mercury retrograde in April, you know? And so just figuring out this whole thing of, can I move forward? Am I stuck in the past? Should I just sit here and pray and breathe and ask the mother to help in these situations, you know? And that's the deal with Venus. Venus says, hey, when you fell through, you know, this world didn't catch you, but still the mother wants to catch you in that place where you felt completely abandoned. That's where you find her. Isn't it interesting that that's the energy Jesus has brought to so many people? Is it possible that he's a representation? He was working with this mother energy. Those Essenes cultures were goddess worshipping back to ancient Egypt. And so, was Yeshua really trying to bring us back to her? All of his teachings are the mother's teachings. So, Venus square the nodes is saying, are you going to receive the nurturing that you deserve? The mother's love that she said nobody can take it from you. But then the new pattern is about receiving, you know? Do you deserve it? Can you handle it? Is it yours? Don't let yourself get your hopes up. It might not work out. I mean, it's such a messy, it's messy, messy, messy entanglement. And just see that all to get untangled. And if you need to, you got to cut, right? If it's too much of a tangle in your fishing line, at some point you just have to get it to take up the least amount of space. You lose the least amount of material and just snip, snip. Just snip, snip. Let it go. Let something else come in. Let the new structures that are not so entangled come in. And so this next, now through the end of the month, we've got that Black Moon Lilith opposite Neptune through the 29th. And we're also going to feel Venus square the nodes through the 29th. So this week is about cleaning up the healing the healer, healing the persecution of the healer, and redirecting our way forward according to the feminine. The goddess lives again, and the fires are relit, and we live in celebration and mutual reciprocity, and dance on her as we create new earth together. But it's like, these squares, the cardinal, it's like, it's just something's grating, the feeling of frustration, impatience with the Aries. Just this constant feeling of like, when is it going to change? When can I go? When is this? Oh, and that's very powerful energy. So we could see a big movement forward in your goals and dreams on some level in your personal life, in your more immediate personal life as these squares resolve. And that is going to be mid-July. So we've got quite a bit of time in this place, and then so it's a process, but that's what it's about, landing home these new patterns. So then we're going to have Mercury come square Chiron on the 29th, same day that we've got Venus square the nodes up till the 29th, Black Moon Lilith opposite Neptune up till the 29th, and then on the 30th, big shift because Black Moon Lilith moves over into the sign of Libra. That will be intense as Black Moon Lilith crosses over the south node. And then also on the 30th, Saturn turns retrograde. So it's like we know Saturn in Pisces is about reworking our timeline, claiming back the divine timeline, the mother's timeline. And so we have a pause in this. As Saturn turns direct, it's like, all right, we got as far as we could do at 19 degrees of Pisces, very powerful number. It's about a new authority, a new spiritual authority. And guess what? I think it's mom, because that's what we all want and need. And she does it right. Loving mother. So this new spiritual authority being born, but Saturn's going to have to, again, we have to go back and I'm seeing this as like almost like a woven piece of fabric, and you got to kind of go back and make sure that the colors are lining up right in this Saturn retrograde. So that's a big shift of energy. And we also have Neptune turning retrograde on the 7th of July. So Chiron turns direct on July 27th. So this is where we got this time of the year where it's like we've been pushing and pushing into the new paradigms. And then we got to go like, okay, what is this about? How do we change and harmonize and shift according to these new directions? So on the one hand, we've got new clarity coming about what our role is and who we really are and what we're doing, but kind of like, well, the backdrop is still, we got to kind of go back a little before we can go forward because we want to do it in just the right way. And all of this points to the Pluto in sextile to Neptune. So we've had these we got Pluto opposite, or Neptune opposite Black Moon Lilith, in this intense showdown of releasing the energy of persecution from the healing creation power, cleansing the satanic or Satan energies, and then releasing the healer back into expression of the healing power in this world. But then that opposition is really intense, but Neptune's in sextile to Pluto, and this is this beautiful backdrop for the rest of the year, jimmying the lock on our reality, saying, yeah, Pluto has to go back into Capricorn, but it's also going to sextile with Neptune, and Neptune is like at the end of Pisces, this the dreams, delusions, like this collective consciousness energy, this permission to create and work with those raw materials. So it's saying, yeah, well, we can rework this. We can rework this reality, right? And everything having to do with Pluto going to 29 degrees Capricorn, false power structures. Did you notice that our whole relationships, everything in our world is power based? Um, even if we're in this loving, so-called loving relationship, there's a feeling of ownership and control. And when we go out in the world to seemingly fulfill our needs, it's about trying to get out there what we need. And it's the same thing with the money magic Babylonian system we've been in, and the petrodollar control. Like if we had free energy, we have no need for money actually. So the whole paradigm, the whole control based paradigm is saying the energy and power is out here and you have to figure out how to get it for yourself. But really what happened is they stole it from us and didn't want us to know it was ours, while they're um, selling it back to us at a taxed rate. That's exactly what's happening. Our power is being stolen and sold back to us through wires. Our data, our ability to run data through our bone, they're running data through our bone marrow. And we've got to take it back. And this is the Aries, take it all back, take it all back, take it all back. But so that's that Pluto going back into Capricorn, because it's like, okay, now, no, we don't, the false control, the false authority, we can't move anywhere if we're allegiant to false control forces. They have no actual control. The only control they have is what we give them. The only energy they have is what we give them. They don't have life itself. They mimic life and steal our energy to mimic life, to control us, to keep us from ever knowing that we are the life. We are the source. We, in our own bodies, as sovereign human souls, direct access to this creation energy. How about we hold it sacred, celebrate it, grow it, express it, see what happens in the world in alignment with our dream? Because we don't have to figure it out. It's right there, written in our DNA. And so, massive rearranging on a cellular level, DNA level, and of course, all levels of our lives, all structures of our lives. And so, the Chiron squares, Mercury square Chiron on the 29th, Venus square Chiron on the 6th. So we have, and then the sun will be square the nodes for on the 3rd of July. So then the Cancer new moon is on the 5th of July. This is really powerful. Very, very powerful week coming up next week, because we'll have the sun square the nodes. So that means the moon too, because the sun and the moon will be together for the Cancer new moon on the 5th. And so, but the sun comes square the nodes a couple of days before that new moon on the 3rd, moving us into Independence Day celebration in the US. And then just after, that's when Venus is square to Chiron on the 6th. And so for the new moon, we've got the sun and the moon square to the nodes of the moon. And we've got Venus square Chiron in Aries. And also the moon will go into square with Chiron shortly after the full moon. And so it's like the end of the line. Mom wins. No more. No more harm. No more our energy being used for harm, our money being stolen for harm, wars and trauma and drama. No more. Done. Wrestling back, like what we've been doing, talking about wrestling back the mother's timeline. And it's very powerful. So that look for Cancer new moon activation on Friday, July 5th in the morning in Mountain Time. And that new moon happens at 14 degrees Cancer, 23 minutes, right in the very middle of the sign, not too far away from that north, out of square with the nodes. The nodes will be at 11 degrees at that time. 11 degrees is a very powerful number. It's facing off against the enemy, claiming your space, coming into collaboration for a new world, creating a portal doorway to new possibilities. Very powerful number, the North Node and the South Node in Libra, sitting at 11 degrees right now, and for these squares. So it's a face off, and we win. Except for it's not enough to win. We have to allow the correction, I guess, is what she's saying. That self-corrective force and the correction. Can you handle this? Are you ready? Sit down. The correction, the self-correcting force that needs to happen, will happen, unavoidable, nothing can stop it, is abundance coming back into your life on all levels. That's the correction. Can you receive the healing? Can you receive the miracle? It's beautiful to have a miracle healing, but if the person who needs the healing doesn't want a miracle healing, then you're beating your head against the wall, and we all know this. Can you receive the miracle? Because you're supposed to be, or maybe you want to be, as supernova soul, a channel for the blessings. And so it's like we're being invited to completely work in a whole different energy, in a whole different world, in this other dimensional frequency. And don't get stuck in 5D, because it's all the Ds. We're talking all the Ds, in 1D, in the wholeness and the oneness, still operating in this, but our consciousness is in the oneness, and so we are in this place of magic, miracles, co-creation, and like receiving the blessings, unwinding the stories, allowing the new patterns to land that support abundance and healing, rejuvenation, regeneration in our lives. It all comes down to where we started, holding creation sacred by holding our creation sacred and life as sacred. That's what it's about. And when you do that, when you say connect with a plant or an animal in love, or you care for another human, that's the mother's work. And she feels you and she loves you. Thank you for doing my work. And she blesses you. And we're the overflowing cup, right? We are the container for this love. And that's the supernova story. So the energy around this is this everything calling us to this one place. And that's a one dimension, the oneness, the golden road, the abundance. We still get to be here in 3D and experience and correct. We must have the correction. We can't get out of this without the correction, is what she's saying. And you are the correction, but you also have to receive the correction. And that's a miracle. The correction coming in the right opportune moment, in this perfect situation, is a miracle. So we are putting ourselves in a position to be able to vibrate and in this energy, work in this energy of miracles and creation, and just own it 100%. Everything will try to negate it, but we're more powerful than that. We know it. And maybe that's a crucial thing before these planets turn retrograde, to have this kind of quintessential issue come forward in our face. Like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're dealing with as these planets go back into this next stage of the journey. We know why. We know what it is. The steps, the new patterns. We're getting a feel for it. And so the Chiron is very important because it's bringing up again all the trauma wounds. And the Chiron squares have been about like, all right, can we drop the trauma body? Like, can we stop identifying? Because as long as we're identified with the trauma body, that's what's comfortable. That's what love is. That's what feels good. That's what we think is right. And to go from that to real, true, authentic love and care and giving, then it makes the authentic love feel not real, because we're so used to the fake love, fake Facebook love, So we're making room for these blessings to flow in our life and bring ourselves back to the core essence, this oneness of what it is we're doing here. And this feels like the golden road. It's like letting these patterns arise, the new patterns, not getting so caught up in the attachments to the old falling away, but focus on the new that's trying to emerge. And that's this golden road. And it's like the more, just like the creations, the more we love the mother and we pay attention, we connect with her, the more the field grows. And the more we pay attention to this golden road of abundance that is calling us. This is where our people are. This is where the miracles are. This is where we get to express ourselves. These are the pieces of our project. And it might not be clear where exactly that wants to come together in this earth realm, but it's a golden road and it's right in front of you. Are you going to take it? Can you step on it? Can you trust it? And that's kind of where we're at in these squares. It's challenging and yet giving us that strength and gumption to release ourselves completely from the old stories and commit fully. You may have an opportunity to, maybe the Cancer new moon will see activation. That's really beautiful. It's almost like the ceremonial energy of recommitting yourself to the mother, to the goddess in your heart and soul. You always have been, but some sort of like deliberate commitment, like that energy of our free will choice, to come back into the mother energy and say, Mom, I'm sorry I went so far away, but I've always loved you best. And I want to come back in the fold, and I want to bring them back in the fold. I want to be in this energy. I want to receive your love. I want to feel loved and held by this field, you know, and opening up to being the container that can hold these precious blessings and miracles to bring them into our world. So this seems to be calling us home, and know that these squares are the challenge around the same old thing, really, the old and the new, because the square with the nodes, forward, backwards, autonomy, codependent relationships in the past, and dropping the wounded stories, dropping the persecution. That's this uh, really powerful black moon Lilith opposite of Neptune, and that is exact from the 21st to the 29th. So, and that these next few days just so powerful, with Venus coming to square with the nodes at the same time of this black moon Lilith opposite Neptune, and Neptune's sextile Pluto. We're just getting a pry bar and just getting in the nitty gritty, like just kind of just prying away from the old wounded stories and dropping those old clothes. And it's okay if you have to fall into a heap on the floor, because that's where you find the mother holding you after the fall. And so may you feel held and loved and cared for, and feel this energy, and continue to bring this energy, all the work you've ever wanted to do, Supernova Soul, all the lists, all the classes, all the trainings, all the things you've done in past lives, every project idea that you've ever wanted to do. It was the mother's work. Thank you. We have a glorious golden road unfolding in front of us that she's helping us to find. And so may we meet there. Thank you so much for your support, Supernova Souls. And for, if you are interested, the membership group, $10 a month, gets you a weekly update and live chats on the Telegram channel, sharing circles, and time to come and bring forward your voice, your questions, be a part of the group, be seen, be heard as a supernova soul as we come and find each other. And so it's so beautiful. And also the $20 membership includes access to the activations, as well as all the other membership benefits. So thank you so much. There's also a link to donate if you'd like to make an offering that way. But you just being here with your energy and your consciousness, listening to me prattle on here, it's just so awesome to have you. And that is an offering in itself, to just have your consciousness with us. That's the true wealth of what you bring, Supernova. So keep it up. And may we meet on the Golden Road. I look forward to seeing you soon. Look out for that Cancer new moon activation Friday, July 5th. I hope to see you there or on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.